Hey guys, it's Tom. It's believe it or not, the day before Thanksgiving, and we had a turnover or something here. Day before Thanksgiving, and Dennis just messaged me a couple minutes ago that he was playing with Paul this morning. They'd already started, and I didn't do a SOMIFA Showcase, whatever. Anyway, I know they play quickly, and I had like an hour to kill, and it's Paul versus Dennis, Houston, Seattle, which is a very good matchup. And Paul's got an interesting style with this team that he has to play with, and I thought it'd be a good one to call, even though I think Paul was actually our first quarter SOMIFA Showcase game, so this was impromptu. Dennis and I sometimes play during the weekdays and let each other know when we're playing. Let me down someone, Kathy. It's like we're late in the first quarter. Dennis is leading 7-0. I just played Dennis Monday, I think. But I don't think it's good. Too much. So Dennis is 8-2. Up a touch. I've got someone here doing something for me, so I'm also talking while I'm broadcasting. Teresa, up a touch. Too much. Down a little. Down a touch. Yeah, that's good. So what am I doing? I don't know the animation on. I'm not really set up here to play. And I'm trying to figure everything out. Hold on one second. But Dennis is driving. I got no play animation on. I'm going to put the animation on. Go to sleep. All right, so we got Seattle with the ball, lead 7-0. I'm ready to go now. About 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Second down and 10 from the Houston 38. I do have a nurse here doing something for me, and she will pop in from time to time. But this game will probably be well in the fourth quarter before she next comes in. It's a long story. She's running a 2 tight end set. Emerald left to Mark Ingram, and he gets a shotgun, and Ingram cards 14 yards in the first down. Dennis started the season 7-1. He had an admittedly soft first half schedule, but not a whole bunch of pushovers, but just none of the real top teams. But now he's got a murderer's row in the second half where he plays basically 3 games over 500 or more. Pretty much every team that we predicted to win 10 or 11 games or more. He's Mick. He plays Paul. He played me already. Played Nathan. He's got like 6 games like that. He plays Jay. Emerald left to Mark Ingram. Defense guessing pass. Blocking back +1 or -4. That's -4. Then it's going with the 2 tight end set. No blocking back. Blocking back. I think it's Julius Thomas, who's a 0. I've already played both of these teams, so I have some familiarity. A big season for Dennis. Had a very, very, very big first half of the season. Of course, he's got Russell Wilson. Marvin Jones has got a great long pass card. A lot of yardage on the short pass, so he's dangerous. Julian Edelman with possession on the other side. The tight ends aren't as strong as you'd like. Julius Thomas is kind of okay. CJ Uzoma, Ingram can catch a flat pass, but linebacker Mark Ingram, defense guessing pass, blitzing, bringing everyone. Linebacker 0 +4. And Deion Buchanan is a linebacker 6-0. 6 against the pass, 0 against the run for the hybrid linebacker from the Arizona Cardinals. Banged up in the NFL this year, as we are about 10 weeks into the NFL season. 3rd and 10 for the Hawks. But then it's up 7-0. Paul normally plays a 4-3 defense. Dennis goes 3 wide. Paul goes nickel 3-3-5. Paul's got weak defensive ends against the run, but he had excellent pass rush and excellent linebackers. Flat pass right to CJ Uzoma. Right is 5 yards. Sets up a 4th and 5 for the Hawks. At the Houston 19, Robbie Gould comes on for a 36-yard field goal attempt as Dennis tries to take a 10-0 lead. The kick is up and good. Dennis is 8-2 as far as I know. I think Paul is 6-2. So obviously, a big game for playoff seeding and those types of things, with 2 guys who have won various championships in various leagues, including, of course, this one, SOMIFA. Dennis won a title a couple years ago. He may have lost in the Super Bowl. I don't remember. Paul has won at least 3 Super Bowls. I think he's won 3 over here and probably lost 1 or 2 others. Short pass, Brandon Marshall. Dennis blitzing the house from his 3-4. Paul has 2-7 to the offensive line. Receiver gets right 15 yards on a first down for the Texans with Drew Brees and Le'Veon Bell up to their own 40-yard line. Paul's got a very strange team. His defense has been dominating, but he has to play a certain style. Plays a 4-3 defense with a great pass rush. Linebackers that go 6-6-5 against the pass with excellent blitzing from the outside. Flat pass right to Le'Veon Bell. 2 men in zone, but Dennis guesses wrong. And it's receiver, not receiver. It's 2 men in zone, incomplete. Would have been a receiver rating with only one man. But bad news for Dennis as the outside linebacker Lorenzo Alexander is out for the rest of the game. Alexander is a 45-12 with an 8 asterisk. And Dennis likes to blitz, and Paul's got 2 7s to the offensive line, but otherwise 2s and 3s. So Dennis is thinking, I'm going to blitz him heavily, and he loses a dominant pass rusher, and by far his best. Long pass to Brandon Marshall. Defense double teaming elsewhere. No man in zone. And it's a dump ball for 5 yards for Drew Brees, who has a very strong flat pass right card. +5, +5, +5, 4, 5, 6, which is unusual. Someone else has that this year also. I don't think I've seen that before this year. Certainly not within multiple quarterbacks. Maybe Big Ben has it, I don't recall. But we have a 3rd and 5 for the Texans now at their own 45 as we start the second quarter. Looking past to CJ Procise. Defense a nickel 3-3-5. And it's a 3-yard completion. Sets up a 4th and 2 for Paul at his own 48, trailing 10-0 with a team that has been defensive-oriented this season against this team. It's a very bad matchup for my team for what my offense needs to do. I lost 17-3. And the punt goes down to the 3-yard line. With Dennis trying to return it with Tyreek Hill or let it bounce. He lets it bounce. And it's a touchback. So Dennis already up 10-0. Says, why take the chance at a fair catch or a fumble inside my own 5? Even with Tyreek, I decided to let it bounce. And then switch me back to the other new spreader and set me up some. Pitch out right to Mark Ingram gets wrong. Dennis gets 11, only 1 yard. 12 was a long gain. I think Ingram had over 1,000 yards in the first half of this season, which a few backs did. So you have to respect the run against this team. Now it's hard. See, when you play against this defense, you see the 4-3, but the tackles are both 6s. Very hard to run inside unless you have a very good inside runner with blocking. And Dennis really doesn't. Off tackle left to Mark Ingram. Short gain gets wrong. First down. I mean, Ingram's got a pretty good linebook off tackle card. Gets wrong. But when your blocking is only okay, and it's a 4-3 defense with tackle 6s, it can be hard to get it going at times. But Ingram has that good card, and Dennis, Chris Ivory type of card that Dennis did so great with, also did well. As an off tackle left to Ingram, 10 yards. Rejecting because I looked at this matchup and with my spreadsheets and didn't find too many good options. Make that a little looser. Well, the Ingram is better than, probably better than Matthews, probably. Certainly off tackle he is. Give me some water. Play action pass to Edelman. Defense gets his run. Flooding a flat. $12-yard completion. Pull the towel higher. Let me get my Oxy and multivitamin. From Russell to Julian Edelman. This is hurting me. Pull the towel up a little bit. Pull it up a little bit. Feels tight. Okay. Short pass, Edelman gets a short yardage defense. There is an injury on the play, and the completion is for 15 yards from Russell to Edelman, and Julius Thomas goes out for the rest of the half. Then this is starting to. Then Troy Nicholas checks in. Not a bad backup. If you have to. All right, I'm okay. All right. I'm still Ruthie, of course. Okay. Short pass to Edelman. Defense gets him pass. Blitzing 3. He gets a dump off. No man, 13 yards in a first down. The right guard 5 against a 12. Went to 72 sack. But Russell eluding the sack, of course. Set me up a little more. I'm sorry. As Dennis, I believe, has 4 7s on the front line. Short pass to Julian Edelman gets wrong. 10 yards in a first down. I forgot about Dennis's. A little more. Good. Forgot about his outstanding pass blocking when I was talking about this matchup a few minutes ago. Dennis goes full house here with T. Hill at fullback, Dennis. That's Tyreek Hill. That's not allowed. Linebacker Mark Ingram. Does Ivory play fullback? I doubt it. Defense calls run. There's a linebacker there. Might be the safety 0, or Paul looks like he may have brought in the backup 0-4. 2 yards for Ingram. But I had said during the midseason show that while Paul's team is real interesting, the defense really relies heavily on the pass rush against a good team anyway, because the secondary is weak. And if you have really good pass blocking, you can probably do well against Paul's defense. And Ed had that experience, and Dennis is having that experience today. Linebacker to Mark Ingram. Defense calls run. 5-yard gain. 4 threes with the blitzing. It just doesn't kill your quarterback. You can throw short passes. And anyway, Dennis has ran it in there. But he misses the extra point, only 2 to 9 and 12. No wonder Dennis was leading the league in 2-point conversion attempts in the first half of the season. But it is 16-0 Seattle. And then this Houston offense, sure, they've got Drew Brees and Le'Veon Bell and Brandon Cooks. But the run blocking is so poor. Is it 3 zeros and 2 fours, or 3 fours and 2 zeros? And the pass blocking has got 2 sevens, but 2s and 3s, so they can be hit. Long pass to Brandon Cooks. Dennis has got 5s in the secondary everywhere. And he's letting them stand around a bit now. And the pass is incomplete. Nothing wrong with that. When you got 5s back there, I've come around to that a little bit to talk about that. Oh, double team with your free safety, try to aggressively stop plays. But when you have a free safety 5 and he stays back there, overall off tackle right to Le'Veon Bell, defense gets his pass. There's a linebacker there, 5 yards for Bell, sets up 3rd and 5. When you have a good secondary, and Dennis has got all 5s, so if you got all 5s out there, and you leave your free safety deep, you're not going to give that many big plays. Flat pass right to C.J. Procise. Defense gets his pass against a linebacker 0, who's in for the injured Lorenzo Alexander. It's a 3-yard completion, and now Paul's got 4th and 2 from his own 33. He's on to punt again. It's a 49-yard punt down inside the 20 for Tyreek Hill. And a big return here could really blow the doors off for Seattle. It's an 11-yard return, as Paul's opponent coverage is 11-7-6. I'll tell you, when you have a real good punt returner, and of course Tyreek has got a great punt returning card, 8+7+6 on the opponent PR, that makes that column look so much nicer when Strat lines it up like that. Off tackle right to Mark Ingram, offensive onside guard 5 or 0. That's not what Dennis wants to see. Is his guard. Such an interesting year in SOMIFA this year. All the teams that we think of as the best teams this year, all have got noticeable weaknesses. They aren't just overall wow, really good and super. Off tackle right to Ingram, offensive onside end 7-2 is only a 2-yard gain. Same as Julius Thomas, if he had not been injured. Now here's an interesting situation. 3rd and 8. Dennis up 16-0. 6 minutes to go in the first half. And Paul not only has the great pass rush, but it's nullified to a great degree by Dennis's pass blocking. So Dennis got a better chance here than the sad sack Andrew Luck on my team. Short pass to Mark Ingram, covered by a 6, a dump off, but only 5 yards. Looking for an asterisk rusher. I don't think Paul blitzed one. Russell, 13 of 14, 163, a touchdown, no interceptions. And there's a booming punt from Drew Kaiser-Soze, from Drew Kaser. Of course, Paul will not return. And the Texans take over 1st and 10, their own 20. So Seattle's been having their way on both sides of the ball, it looks like. Since I've been on here, he already had a 7-0 lead. And it's been Seattle drives and Houston punting. And we're right to Le'Veon Bell. Going. Then Devontae M +4, +0. Jason Witten makes the blocks. He's a 5. I'm trying to hover on that outside linebacker 0 for Dennis, who's in for the injury, and I'm not succeeding. Flat pass left to Kyle Juszczyk being double teamed. Juszczyk covered by the 0. Dennis shrewdly double teaming. It is a 2-yard completion for Brees, which is important because it breaks containment. Gives you a 3rd and 4 for the Texans at their own 26. Brees 7 of 9, but for only 47 yards. Paul saying, can I please avoid punting yet again? Long pass Brandon Cooks. Defense double teaming elsewhere. As Dennis has been coming up for the flat pass, and it's a dump off for 5 yards. Very tough to get a pass rush going on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. I have seen guys show blitz, guess pass and bring the house, plugging all the run zones. Thinking if you're going to run it, you might hit their card with a guy. It's a short pass to Brandon Marshall, gets right, 13 yards on a 1st down. 144 now. He had the ball near no man's land as I was trying to This guy's a 0.43. As there's a flat pass for 7 yards. Missing the game. I'm trying to find out this guy's name. But that was a 7-yard completion from Brees to Le'Veon Bell. 2nd and 3 for Houston as they've crossed midfield. We'll have to see who gets the second half kick. I was not here for most of the first quarter. Run left to Le'Veon Bell gets wrong. A linebacker in his own. 2 yards in Bell's card. Makes it a 3rd and 1. And Bell's got a pretty good card. But as Dennis and I were discussing a few weeks ago, when we were considering some of the running back cards for next year, and just long term, Le'Veon, you think of Le'Veon as one of the best running backs in the NFL, certainly. And his cards, have been pretty good, but maybe, but something short of dominant running the ball in Strat. When you think about maybe the last 10 years, a guy like Jamal Charles or most of Adrian Peterson's early cards in his career. 5, 6, 7 years worth. 3rd and 1. There it is. Dennis shows blitz. Guess this pass brings everybody off tackle left for Jonathan Stewart. 2 linebackers in zone. But he gets +2 on the defense card for a first down. That 2 linebacker in zone off tackle for 3-4 is not where you want to be trying to pick up yardage. Weak run blocking on Paul's team. So his own card would have been good. The defense's card generally bad, but he did hit the 8 for 2 yards and a first down at the Seattle 45 as we hear the 2-minute warning. Flat pass right, Le'Veon Bell. Defense double teaming elsewhere. As Dennis slides his 4 inside linebacker out. Wide tie 6, 20 yards and a big pickup. Le'Veon Bell down to the Seattle 25. 16-0 Hawks. Houston driving. Now, because Dennis missed that extra point, it's only 29-12. It's technically a 2-score game. Ball got 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions. Dennis is very good flat pass left to Le'Veon Bell. Defense run keen. Nobody there. Dennis was looking for the end run. And instead he gets the screen pass for 10 yards and a first down. From Bell to Brees with nobody there. That's about as easy as it gets in the Strat-O-Matic world. And probably in the NFL if you had that combination. 1st and 10 for Houston at the Seattle 15. 1:22 to go. Paul's only got 2 timeouts. But that's plenty, given his current field position and the remaining time on the clock. Left tackle left to Le'Veon Bell. No linebackers there. Defense guessing pass, double teaming in a couple of places. Offensive onside end, 5-0. Kyle Juszczyk makes the block. I noticed that when I was playing Paul. Off tackle and end run left, where he's getting both offensive onside end and blocking back readings that bring up Kyle Juszczyk's mighty 6'7". And Divine, and you say, gee, it kind of stinks for run blocking. But it's not that bad to his left when he's in the blocking back with Juszczyk. Nickel 3-3-5 showing blitz. Short pass. Brandon Marshall picked off 36 and 12. Picked off in the end zone by Seattle. Really try to run it out as well. He gets a touchback. He did not try to run it out. So that was a huge play right there. In the game, down 16-0, a minute before the half, 1st and goal from the 10. An interception. Long pass, Marvin Jones gets wrong. Picked off 2-3, incomplete on Russell's card. Dennis going up top says, I'm up 16-0. Paul thinks I'm going to run it with Ingram, try to hit one of those long gains. Going up top to Marvin Jones gets wrong. Coming by 4, and for the free safety 0. You see the secondary here. Corner 4, strong safety 5, free safety 0. Off tackle left to Mark Ingram. No linebackers there. 5-yard gain, 3rd and 5. Dennis will probably let the clock run. We'll see if Paul calls timeout of defense. So you see that the front 7 for Paul's defense really tough. The defensive ends are weak against the run, but he can plug with the outside linebackers. I guess his secondary is weak. So if you can avoid the pass rush, you can definitely do a lot. There's a lot of opportunities to be had, throwing short and long and the occasional flat. Linebacker with the box is a possibility at times. There's a long pass to Julian Edelman, dump off complete. Looks like Dennis went hurry up on the previous play. and saving his timeouts, which he now uses one. And he's got a 1st and 10 at his own 32, 30 seconds before the half. Wilson, 14 of 16, 170, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. This will be a big win for Dennis. 3 wide receivers and 1 running back. 3-5 blitz. Dennis started out 7-1. He's got a solid team. He's got a pretty good team. Picked it in the 11 among the top 5 or 6 in our preseason preview. Well, best Golden Tate defense showing blitz, and he's bringing the house. If Dennis can pick it up, Dennis picks it up. Sniper scope, long gain, 39 yards. Blitz with my team, and a lot of us aren't. Dennis got 4 sevens on the offensive line. So remember we talked about the importance of pass rushing and the frequency of blitzing a few years ago. When you run into the wall of 7s, I mean, you're not going to get much better pass rush than Paul has on this team. In any 24-plus team league, unless maybe you allow rip-off trading. But, you know, if you're going to free safety blitz with 0s and 4s back there and you don't have a dominant pass rush advantage, you're going to get burned flat. Even maybe some short pass sniper scopes, but long pass no man with 4s out there and the guy can pass block is tough. And that's what we saw there. And now Dennis got 1st and 10 at the Houston 12. Paul feels like he has to play. Paul, that works against most of the teams in the league. There's not a lot of pass blocking this year. Flat pass right to Uzoma. White die 6 touchdown, and Seattle goes up 22-0. On the last play of the first half, supposed to be the fullback here. Dennis knows what he's doing, so one of these guys must have it on their card, Ingram or Ivory. Dennis went for 2 there because his kicker's only 2, 9, and 12. Why not go for 2? The matchup is decent. And that's what's interesting is that Paul's got the 4-3 with the great defensive tackle 6s, but his starting inside linebacker is a 6-pass, 0 run. So in short yardage, actually, you can try and go straight up the middle. I'm not sure what his free safety is against the run. And I think he's got a backup ILB 04 or something that he brings in near the goal line. And Paul got the ball to start. So, yeah, so it's just interesting. You have this defense that can be so dominant against most of the teams in the league. Against the guys that can really pass block. There's only a couple of teams that can this year, but they're some of the better teams, like Ed, like Dennis. So if you want to make the Super Bowl / win the Super Bowl, you may have to beat Ed or Dennis or both. So it'll be interesting. But it's working great for Paul in general. This is only one game, but it's just really, it's always interesting. You look at some of the things that are going on. Because it's a different type of defense than you normally see. One pass Brandon Cooks. Dennis blitzing almost everyone, 3/4 of his guys. 10 incomplete on Breeze card. And when you're in a keeper league like this, it's a long-term keeper league. Paul's not the type of guy to trade everything for the year, unless maybe he's close. So you can end up with some teams that are pretty good, pretty competitive, but maybe they're trying to do it in an unusual way. Linebacker Le'Veon Bell, right guard 7-2 is only a 2-yard gain. Look, you get Drew Brees, Le'Veon Bell, Brandon Cooks, other guys who are decent in the receiving game. You got a massive front 7 on defense. You gotta. So interesting. I don't want to face this team in the playoffs. That's for sure. I mean, I can't move the ball against Paul's team. The matchup is very tough for me. I have a hard time challenging him down the field when he's free safety blitzing. And we're playing peekaboo with end runs and flat pass floodings and free safety blitzing, and it's not a fun time for my club. Long pass to Brandon Marshall, guessed incomplete, guessed right rather. At 24-0, the game's not over. But you just feel like, Dennis is both these guys are great coaches. So it's always hard to come back from 20-0 against a really good coach, unless you start getting ludicrous luck like, snap fumbles and receiver fumbles, all kind of crazy turnovers, things like that. And Dennis has got a pretty good defense. He's got all the five. Look, I don't like he's got all the fives on the defensive line, 5-5-5. And he's got all the fives in the secondary, 5-5-5-5. Jay Villing has put a lot of good defense with a lot of fives in recent years. I think it's had some impact on me. Like my current SOMIFA team, I think only has pass Malcolm 1-6 period. Malcolm Butler. But fives are good. You can play defensive five. My spreadsheets were telling me, I don't know, but maybe that was when I had Peyton Manning. And I was doing spreadsheets against Jay's team for that SSFA Super Bowl. So most quarterback cards, even if they're good, aren't as good as that card was. So with a lesser quarterback card, even maybe a top 10 card against the fives, as I was thinking when I was saying that a couple of years ago. Interesting. There's just so much to think about when you're trying to win in various formats, various leagues, various personnel matchups. Sure, I bet Jason Witten, for all the blitz coming out from Dennis, except one guy again, unless that's the safety. So it looks like he's bringing everybody. It's the dump off. It was a 7-7 Patrick Omame, so only a 1-16 sack chance. Who loves getting his sacks? Who wouldn't? But he seems to relish them more than most. Emmer left to Le'Veon Bell. He certainly goes after them. But since I've been calling this game a nice job of sometimes going out for the blitz and sometimes not, you usually can't do anything over and over and over again against a good coach. Emmer left to Le'Veon Bell. Blocking back, +5 or -1. There's a Kyle Juszczyk key block. So we're still, fairly early in the third quarter, almost the middle of the third quarter. Ball's down 24-0, but he's at the Seattle 12. Technically, this is a three-score game. You can get 3 touchdowns or 3 two-point conversions. I wouldn't want to have to make a living trying that, though. Blocking back halfback, Jonathan Stewart in the game. Not a great card, but you can use it a little bit guessed wrong. Flat pass left to Stewart. Defense double teams elsewhere. One linebacker in zone is a 5. And receiver gets right, incomplete. Jonathan Stewart, not a good receiving card this year. I think early in his career, he had some pretty nice receiving cards for short passing and stuff like that with some good yardage for a running back. Not a guy you thought of as a good receiving running back, really, in the NFL. 3rd and 5, looking past the CJ Procise. Then it's blitzing, bringing 2, but there's no defenders there. So this could be good for Paul. 6 on the defense is 10 yards and a first down, thanks to the vacated zone. It's a white die 4, so it had to be truly vacated. 1st and goal at the Seattle 2. Remember, he threw that interception right before the half. That really hurt him. Off tackle right to Theo Riddick. Defense gets his run. 2 linebackers in the zone. On Riddick's card, the Chronicles of Theo Riddick. Paul's offensive line, the interior offensive line, is not good. And Le'Veon Bell's kind of his only decent running back on right. Linebacker to Bell. Defense gets his pass. 2 linebackers in zone. Blocking back +2 or 0. Tolbert makes the block. It's a human bowling ball. And Paul's got 3rd and goal from the 2. And still a quarter and a half of football left, but even if Paul gets a touchdown, hey, you make him run a couple extra plays, it helps in your quest to win when you have a big lead. 3 running backs, 2 tight ends. Jason Witten, the right tight end, Jared Cook to the left. Riddick, Tolbert, and Le'Veon Bell in the backfield. Short pass, Jason Witten. Defense gets his run. Has 4 men there. They were showing blitz. 6 on Drew Brees' card is incomplete. Outside of the interception split. And now Paul's got 4th and goal from the 2. Trailing 24-0. I think he'll go for it here. And he does. 3 running back, 2 tight ends. I think he wants to run it with Bell up the middle. He's going to do. Dennis showing blitz again. Linebacker Le'Veon Bell. Dennis running keys. Paul needs the defense's card. Left guard +3 of -1. Touchdown. Patrick Omameh moving up to a 5 with the full house. And Paul gets the block and gets a break finally there to get in the end zone. Dennis has called a very good game since we've been on. And I think it's not a great matchup for the style of Paul's defense with all that pass blocking. I keep mentioning that Dennis has. It's a lot of interesting matchups this year amongst the top. I mentioned a lot of weaknesses, a lot of different styles. Paul's going to go for the extra point here, probably determining that he's unlikely 3 straight 2-point conversions when he just barely managed to get a touchdown after first and goal of the 2. Call. It's not a good matchup for 2-point conversions with Paul's offense against Dennis's defense with a lack of run blocking and guest right running in terms of some good options outside of Bell perhaps. And he kicks it deep for a touchback 24-7. Now his defense has got to do something. Let's see what happens here. Likes to run it, and he's got Ingram to run it with. Off tackle left to Ingram. Defense guessing pass. There's a box card, long gain. Mark Ingram, huge run, 74 yards. Looks like he's going to get brought down from behind at the 1-yard line. So good hustle by the Texans secondary. But the horse is out of the barn, or whatever the hell that phrase is. Shutting the door after the whatever. Anyway, the horse ran for 74 yards. First and goal at the 1 for Mark Ingram. He's got 16 carries for 138 yards. And now he gets run keyed. Successfully. That's really the closing the barn door after the horse has gotten out. Something like that. I'm going to need to hold my nose to the grindstone and look that one up. But second and goal from the 2 for Seattle. He can pretty much put this game away with a touchdown here. Yeah, I do think it's interesting. I'm a guy who in the modern leagues, when there's a dump off, is known for running the ball a lot. There's another run key of Ingram, but it's a touchdown, 2 yards up the middle on the center block. Matt Slauson, ex-SOMIFA Jet, always comes back to the Jets. Dennis talks about Russell Wilson. I talk about my SOMIFA Jets. And my one-time franchise quarterback, Andrew Luck. Not looking good right now. But it's 31-7. And I don't know. We'll see if Paul can mount a comeback here. I guess we'll probably talk about some other things. But there's some guys, like when you play them over the years, or just when you look at their stats, they obviously like to run the ball. And they run it a lot, and they stay with the run. And they got a decent card that's doing a lot of work. You can't just sit there and go pass, 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 and think you're going to win the game. You might. But when you see what like Chris Ivory was doing last year for Dan Morin and for Dennis, and, you know, some of the stats for some of the running backs and SOMIFA this year, and when you go play that guy, how are you going to say, oh, it's okay, I'm worried with the pass, I'm just going to guess pass? You got to guess run a little more aggressively. Doesn't mean you got to run key. Doesn't mean you got to give him a long pass, no man wrong. Doesn't mean you can't move your linebackers around. There's a flat pass interception for Dennis at the Houston 31. I'll try to run this back. And he fumbles the return. At the Houston 9, Seattle has recovered it. Knowing Dennis, they might try to advance it just because the games are going crazy in a 31-7. But he doesn't, which is wise. But you can't just sit there and let these guys run the ball all day long. while you guys pass and, put one inside linebacker up there. It doesn't get the job done. Paul's a little different. They got the defensive tackle 6s and a 4-3 and the great linebackers, but you got to call run a little more. You really do. When you see a guy, look at the guy's stats. How much is he running compared to passing it? Does he have a gaudy rushing average as a team? The back was really going wild. You got numerous backs in this league that have over 1,000 yards through the first half of the season. Maybe you should pay more attention to that guy when you play him. And Paul, I don't think is listening because it's 38-7. Why would you want to listen to that again? A regular season game, especially. And Paul's a great coach who slaughtered me 17-3. It was may as well have been 35-3. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere. And that was based upon the matchup and the coaching. And Paul's a great coach. So I just feel like sometimes in the modern leagues with the double off, I know the passing is real strong. And you got the white dice 6, but not all the time. Certain matchups, certain guys, I just still see too much of allowing the other guy to run the ball and do whatever he wants on the ground. And you don't have to be bringing all your linebackers up, but it makes a big difference on some of these running cards. You just call run. That's all. I get a bunch of 5s and 6s run blocking. All right, you probably got to bring up some linebackers, and that's more problematic. But guys get 0s and 4s, or even 0s and 5s, and the running back's got huge runs against wrong, and he's not that great against right. All you got to do is call a little bit of run, and you're less likely to see the guy run wild. But it's tough. It's always tough. There's always the cat and mouse. There's so many great coaches in this league. I say this so many times. I'm a broken record, I know. Really intrigued by Tennessee with making 7-1, having a great season. Seattle 8-2, going 9-2 with Dennis, Jay Villing 6-2, 6-2. Paul 6-2, now 6-3. I'm 6-3. Nathan 6-4. Ed started slowly, but he's 6-4. I mean, look at all those potential playoff matchups that are going to be there. I mean, come on. Jay, Dennis, Paul, Nathan, Ed. I'm going to be in there. Ryan Dickinson's been really good in other leagues. Hasn't had the SOMIFA success yet. Mick's got the best record in the league. And none of these teams are what I would call like a super team. You don't have that team out there, that's got, Well, Pittsburgh's got Aaron Rodgers and Ezekiel Elliott. Out of the weaknesses on that team, I guess. Well, actually, I picked him to win the Super Bowl, actually. But I don't know. He's only 4-4 right now, but you don't have that team right now that's got a top, that's got like Matt Ryan's great card with like Spencer Ware and like a good second back, another interception, and like 5s and 6s and great pass rush, and which used to see more often in SOMIFA. You want to go back even maybe 6 or 7 years and further. That was what teams would look like that would win the Super Bowl. But a lot of good GMs, a lot of guys learning and improving from back then. It's only natural. You end up with more a greater dispersal of talent. I'm not going to say parity because we all think 8-8, 9-7, and no one's that good. But certainly more of the wealth. There's Ingram running for another 10 yards. 20 carries, 159 yards. He has 74 on the one run. So maybe Paul was calling one earlier, but I haven't seen him call much run since we've been on. And Paul's a great coach. So again, for some reason I always end up criticizing. and for me, I feel like I always end up saying something critical of something Paul's doing in his games. And he's one of the best coaches out there. And we go back and forth and we beat each other. So, but it's interesting. There you go. Now he's run King Ingram. That's another way to do it. Is guess pass, run key, bring everybody. Get a seed of doubt in the guy's head. What's going to happen? Then it's got 3 yards because Deion Buchanan is a 0 against the run. But this defense is real tough still. I know it's 38-7, and then Dennis has been hot with the dice, and it's a bad matchup for Paul because of Dennis's pass blocking. But against most teams, this defense is going to be tough, and it's been outstanding. Paul gave up 99 points in the first 8 games of the season. 99. Now he's getting up 38. He's getting up more points this game than he gave up in the whole first quarter of the season. First block of the season, Paul gave up 33 points, 38 tonight. Today, rather. And the rest of the way, what's he got? Pittsburgh, it's a tough game. Tampa Bay, rebuilding. Philly, spunky, 3-5. Cincinnati, 6-2. Or the Rams were now 3-7, but they're still not very good. And Atlanta, so interesting road to hoe. That Houston Atlanta game will be interesting. That could be a SOMIFA Showcase. So we're down to a 9:18 to go in the fourth quarter. It's 38-7 Seattle as they get ready to punt. "24-yard coffin corner. 18. I'm not going to stop calling the game though because I don't like to. I don't like to do that. I'm going to game with 8.5 minutes left. That's not my style. It's the day before Thanksgiving. I've got my niece and some of her college friends in town. I live with family, my mom, my sister, my brother Arthur is here often. Former online strat coach, well known by you guys. Kenyon Drake in the game for Paul. So what should I do with my quarterback situation next year? I don't know. I need my secondary to come through. Malcolm Butler was grading like an 82 about a month ago. Now he's at like a 74. 5, going from a solid 5 to a 4. Audie Burns dropped from like an 82 to like a 77. Joe Hayden's at an 81, so might get a 54 corner, but none of good safeties really either, so bit of a bad secondary. If you have a bad secondary and no quarterback, it's usually a bad combination in the passing era. But the rest of my defense is real strong. And there's some quarterback options out there. Case Keenum will be in the draft. Well, I mean, cheaper stopgap options. Watson will be in the draft. Patrick Mahomes might be in the draft. Mitchell Trubisky will be in the draft. But hopefully, unless my team collapses, I should be drafting 16th or later. And I don't know how I feel about those quarterbacks yet. Individually, I would wait to do more research. Stopgap guys. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is getting enough attempts and didn't throw any picks the last game to start meriting consideration. Brian Hoyer. Well, that's Dale's starting quarterback, so Case Keenum, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think there's one other guy. If you need a stopgap, and maybe I need more than a stopgap, but I don't know. I'm in a weird situation with Andrew Luck. And Bear Paul gets a touchdown. As now we're pretty much about over. There's only 3 minutes to go in regulation. It'll be a 24-point game if he makes the extra point. And the extra point is up and good. 38-14. Ingram's got 20 carries for, I think, 170 yards. But he is fatigued. As Paul and Dennis look to wrap this one up. Three carries, 17 yards for Russell. Loses one on the line buck against short yardage. Russell, I think his completion percentage next year is 62.1. That's how I ended up calling this game, as I was texting Dennis about Russell's stats. Russell's on pace to throw for almost 4,500 yards. For a guy who runs a lot and hasn't had that type of number before in terms of passing yards, that's a big number. 7 picks in 375 attempts, roughly. That's pretty good. That's under 2%, which is where you want to be, ideally. Ingram is having good stats, so he might be chunky. I don't know. That might be what happened in that full house situation. Julius Thomas is Dennis's normal full house fullback. Depth chart probably just had Tyreek Hill there. Dennis didn't really notice it. So Tyreek Hill was playing fullback. I guess Paul didn't notice it or care. So, and Dennis didn't use Tyreek there either. Russell Wilson, 18 of 20. 7 yards, 3 touchdowns. The point I was making, Dennis is always in the mix of runs, championship game appearances, and championships. And now you might be giving him a great Russell Wilson card again. She hasn't had in a couple of years. Will it be the best Russell Wilson card? I don't know. The rushing average is also. And if you watch NFL, he's playing great football. So that'll be interesting to see. So this game is over. Tough one for Paul. He falls to 6-3. Dennis goes to 9-2 with only 5 games remaining. So Dennis only has to go 3-2 to get to 12-4. 12-4 should give you, at the very least, a home game, and very likely a bye, and a good chance one of the top 3 seeds. I don't know. I really, I talk about SOMIFA a lot, and I really, you really get into it. You get deeper in the NFL season, and you're looking at the NFL stuff. And if you have a good franchise in SOMIFA, obsessively future-oriented like I am, you're looking at some of your PFF grades on your guys and some of your stats. And it's all coming together at the same time. And I'll be calling SOMIFA playoff games, and my team should be in the playoffs, and interesting stuff going on next year around the league. So A lot of fun. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, I'm going to end the broadcast here. This game is over. It was a regular season game, not originally scheduled to be called. Did up in progress late in the first quarter. It was 7-0 Seattle and all Seattle from that point on. Adios. Bye-bye.